Pleasant day to everyone for our final assignment in ENRM 223 Ecosystem and Structure Dynamics. I, Kathleen Clea D. Benitez, am going to present the status and impacts of aquaculture farming to Manila Bay, which I've been part of in our institute since 2016. Manila Bay is the gateway for socio-economic development. Two of the major uses of Manila Bay are shipping or navigation and tourism with an economic value of 10% and 23% respectively. The remaining 67% of the Manila Bay value is accounted for the fisheries industry, making fishing as the primary source of livelihood around the bay. Shell fisheries and aquaculture flourish in inland areas in southern part of National Capital Region, Cavite, Bulacan, Pampanga, and Bataan as well as in the Bay. According to Partnerships in Environmental Management for the Seas of East Asia or PEMSE, the major environmental problems such as deterioration of water quality, coastal erosion and siltation, overexploitation of fishery resources, degradation of habitats, and loss of biodiversity are identified in the bay. The health of the bay is significantly affected by the rivers that discharge into it. Most of the pollution are results of many land-based human activities, which include agricultural waste and runoffs. Aquaculture farming already existed since the 19th century and which accounts for as much as 59% of the total economic value of the bay. Several environmental risks and hazards of aquaculture have been identified as follows. First, biological pollution or the release of non-endemic species into the water bodies. It was reported in Philippine Daily last July 2013 on the biological pollution of an invasive species of tilapia, also known as Tilapia gloria or black chin tilapia in Bataan. It was believed that the species was introduced into the aquaculture areas of Bataan several years ago. Second, habitat modification, which happens when aquaculture activities alter landscapes of aquatic systems, resulting in habitat destruction and loss of biodiversity. Lands and natural wetland habitats such as swamp and marshland, paddy fields and rice fields are major land use class affected by aquaculture. Lastly, chemical and organic pollution, mainly from the different inputs during the aquaculture activities, such as the utilization of fertilizers and feeds. Its application to water for improved production and among other aquaculture practices contribute to the agricultural waste released to the bay. Study by Buntoho and others in 2020 shows the estimation of nutrient loading from fish ponds, pens, and cages. In efforts to optimize benefits from aquaculture, several laws and administrative orders were passed. These include Presidential Decree 704 of 1975, PD 705, Republic Act 7161, and Fisheries Administrative Order 125. Moreover, the Supreme Court issued an SC Mandamus in Manila Bay in 2008, directing government agencies to clean up, rehabilitate, and preserve Manila Bay and restore and maintain its waters to SB level to make them fit for swimming, skin diving, and other forms of contact recreation. Our mother agency, the Department of Agriculture, is one of the government agencies tasked to implement the SC Mandamus' directives. That's why the institute I am working with, the National Fisheries Research and Development Institute or NFRDI, is continuously monitoring the water quality of the aquaculture farms around the bay in order to assess the contribution of aquaculture farming to the pollution loading of the bay. For the safety and quality of products harvested, 6 aquaculture commodities such as shrimp, crab, milkfish, tilapia, oyster, and mussels are collected in our sampling areas in order to assess any contamination with heavy metals and the presence of pathogenic bacteria. Moreover, we conduct household interview to calculate the risk associated in the consumption of these commodities. Surveys and interviews with aquaculture farmers, owners, and caretakers are done to evaluate their pond management. We also published our research studies locally and internationally. To name, the Philippine Journal of Fisheries, which is the official joint publication of BFAR and NFRDI, and Food Control, which is the official scientific journal of the European Federation of Food Science and Technology and International Union of Food Science and Technology. These studies recommended that there should be a strict compliance to the regulatory guidelines or ordinances and implementation of good aquaculture farming in order to achieve a water quality which is within the limits stipulated by the local standard and attain food safety and security. Results we gathered are forwarded to the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources or BFAR for drafting of policies and regulations which will immensely help in restoring the bay and mitigate or alleviate the problems anchored in aquaculture farming. Let's all help in saving Manila Bay.